to the fabulous Macquarie Marquee on this, the 15th Byron Bay Writers Festival, and welcome especially to this session, which is Stand Up for Embarrassment. So if you think you're somewhere else and want to leave, do it now. It's sponsored by the wonderful Frontline Company and David and Chrissy Botts, who have been festival supporters forever and work bloody hard on our behalf. So thank you, David and Chrissy, for sponsoring this festival. All right, now the dreaded housekeeping announcements. You all know what they are, but I will be smacked if I don't read them anyway. So here we go. Please turn off all mobile phones. If anyone's phone rings during this session, they will be made to come up here and tell a joke, okay? So make sure your phone, unless you really want to come up and tell a joke, make sure your phone is turned off. And also, this is really important, and somebody is sinning already, and yes, I'm looking at you. Please keep the aisles clear. No sitting in the aisles. It's a health and safety regulation, so just hop up. And remember too that this is a non-smoking area. It is, however, a good time area, so feel free to laugh. I'm going to introduce my illustrious panelists in a moment. I won't introduce myself. I'm seriously jet-lagged and can't actually remember my name. And I will remind you that at the end of the session, all of these fabulous panelists will be in the signing tent, signing away, hopefully their own books. So if you would like to meet them and exchange repartee and witty comments and buy a book, you can do that afterwards. All right, here we go. Now, first of all, can I introduce to you Benjamin Law. I haven't even told you what he does yet. No, let it be a secret. Benjamin Law is a Brisbane-based freelance writer. He's a senior contributor to Frankie magazine, has written for The Monthly, The Courier Mail, Q Weekend, Sunday Live, Clio, Crikey, The Big Issue, New Matilda, Kill Your Darlings, ABC Unleashed, and the Australian Associated Press. His essays have been anthologised in Growing Up Asian in Australia, The Best Australian Essays 2008, The Best Australian Essays 2009, and the forthcoming voracious New Australian Food Writing. What happened to the Best Australian Essays 2010? Did you get a Guernsey?
No, I just decided to get really lazy and not write anything good.
Oh, okay, all right.
Are they bringing out a mediocre essays 2010?
We'll be submitting to that.
I thought it was because you'd moved offshore for tax purposes.
Yeah, that's right. I did a bit of the skates.
I've lost control. This is the way it's going to be. Okay, so The Family Law, and I am holding up the right book, that's good, is his debut book and is published by Black Ink Books. A French edition will be published by Belfond in 2012.
Ooh la la.
The TV rights have been sold to Matchbox Pictures. He's currently working on his second book, a collection of non-fiction looking at queer people and communities throughout Asia. It has the working title, and this is fabulous, Geisha. Thank you, Ben. Okay. All right, now Charlie Pickering is the man on the end there. He is a comedian, writer, and presenter, and he is edgy, polished, and inventive. And
Did you write that?
Where did this come? Did this come from my own website? That's awful. That is dreadful.
I didn't write it, I'm just telling you.
I'm not those things. I'm, if anything, lazy, argumentative, and at times just difficult to get along with.
So I'm finding.
Yeah.
But evidently you're also one of the most exciting names in Australian comedy.
Once again.
Came from some girl's pencil case.
For the two or three of you who haven't come across Charlie before, Charlie is a political junkie, he's a former lawyer, and the voice of his generation as a regular team captain for Generation X on Network's 10's quiz show, talking about your generation. He can also be seen each weeknight on your screens as co-host of the 7pm project, where the day's news is dissected, digested and reconstituted by some of Australia's funniest and smartest.
I promise to send you a much shorter biography next
See, this is what happens when you don't return people's emails.
I know.
It's exactly right. With none of you, I'm just getting it off your
I've learned a
website.
valuable lesson here today. Thank you very much.
All right, and for that, I'll cut it short now. All right, and this brings me to the wonderful Fiona Scott-Norman, who is a performer, a columnist, an arts writer, a DJ, and her words, because I got it from her website, a B-grade radio personality. Fiona was born in England, moved to Australia in the 80s, which means she's got dual citizenship and can work to her heart's content in the UK and the EEC. Have you ever worked in Slovakia?
I'm working towards being included in the Best Writing for Slovakia 2012.
Good on you!
Less competition.
And Ben won't be there. Fiona has a BA in film and television and creative writing.
I've got to get back to this is rubbish. Where's the bit that's saying I'm edgy?
No, I looked for that, but evidently you're not. Damn.
Yeah, if you were to say it on your bio.
That's right. But
I'm edgy and
happily,
polished. I don't even think that's possible.
happily, her interests include overthrow of the government, overthrow of religion, very bad music, and very good music. All right, now that's half the session gone. Let's get
That's
down to
over.
business.
It's over now. Thank you for coming.
Whoa, okay. Well, that's actually good because I think we're all embarrassed now. So it's...
No, Benjamin got off really lightly.
He did.
They applauded just his name.
I
I know, thank you.
And then they were just in awe of the term geisha. They loved your bio. Can you please write a new bio for me?
I will.
Wonderful.
We'll workshop it later.
All right, so Stand Up for Embarrassment is the name of the session. Now, we've all got red faces. And I guess, all right, if we're going to start with the topic before we veer wildly from it, is embarrassment a cornerstone of comedy? Who wants to take that one up?
Yes, it reminds me of the Mel Brooks quote, tragedy is when I cut my finger and comedy is when you fall into an open sewer and die. And I recently came back from Burma, and you know, Burma, Myanmar, whatever you want to call that country over there, is a place where the civic planning is a little bit messed up. So there's a lot of paving that has been lifted up and just left on the side of the road. So there's a lot of open gaps where you can easily fall into an open sewer and die. And one day, my friend was walking through Yangon, the former capital, and it was raining really heavily, and the drainage doesn't work really well, so the roads were all flooded, and she fell into an open sewer. And when she told me that, I couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah, you were thinking, I've got to email Mel Brooks.
Absolutely. She found it funny too.
I think the idea, one reason, I think embarrassment is one of the cornerstones of comedy.
Yeah.
There's almost an infinite number of cornerstones. That's what you get with an art that's not really an art.
Yeah,
A comedy is an
designed
art.
by Escher.
Yeah. But I think one of the reasons it is a cornerstone of comedy is sharing embarrassment is about vulnerability. And for comedy to work, there has to be some element of vulnerability. And I think particularly to an Australian sense of humour as well, you have to be a little self-deprecating. You have to point out your own flaws for people not to just think you're a wanker.
Yeah.
Like if you're a comedian that knows what everyone else should do but can't look at yourself, you're not going to get very far.
If, for example, you're the voice of your generation.
Yeah. surprised you had time to remember that. You're so busy overthrowing the government. Is it really going to come down to this? Is that really what's going to happen here? Hey Fiona, you want a coffee? I'm too busy planning a coup d'etat.
That's right. Lucky that I'm here.